Madanat podcast, a live show from the Kiln Studios today. And the sponsor for this show is TechCon San Diego, or TechCon SoCal rather. We are an official media partner this year, and we are going to be streaming from TechCon SoCal at San Diego State, as we did last year, interviewing entrepreneurs, VCs, and innovators throughout the San Diego County. We'll be going with TechCon to Austin for their Austin stop this year too. So in anticipation for that event that's coming on later in the year, and we'll have all the information about it in the show notes if you guys want to check it out and register. We're doing a series of interviews with some folks that are going to be part of the programming. So we've got an exciting guest for you guys today. Hala Madanat, did I pronounce your name correct?
Madanat.
Hala Madanat is a PhD and MS in Distinguished Public Health Leader, serving as Vice President for the Research and Innovation arm of San Diego State, the Albert W. Johnson Distinguished Professor of Public Health at San Diego State. She oversees SDSU's research enterprise, supports research, advancement, and innovation, and helps drive programs like the Mission Valley Innovation District, the university's startup incubation efforts. Her research focuses on health promotion, behavioral science, reducing health disparities through community-engaged work, NIH-funded projects addressing cancer equity, obesity prevention, public health, workforce development. She's led significant research growth and strategic initiatives that expanded SDSU's research impact and funding, and she holds degrees in biological sciences, community health science, and sociology with a public health minor. Thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So I know I just gave a mouthful of a bio there, right?
Yeah.
But do you want to tell me maybe a little bit, take us back and give us a little bit of context? So, where'd you grow up? Where did you go to school originally for undergrad? And what got you excited about the world of innovation? And how did you find that way into your academic career at San Diego State?
Well, thank you first for having me. But I'll start by saying unusual pathway to innovation. So as you heard in my bio, started in biology, went to public health, went to sociology, directed our school of public health. But really what got me excited was San Diego State's project in Mission Valley, where it really gives us an opportunity to think about what I call the trifecta: research that leads to innovation, that leads to economic development. And when you put those three together, it really is a legacy project that will transform not only San Diego State and the region, but really California. So,
Wow.
so super exciting, and it was hard to pass out as an opportunity.
I bet. That's awesome. So, San Diego has been a innovation hub for a long time,
Yeah.
but it's kind of traditionally been known as a life sciences town, maybe a little bit of defense tech, based on the fact that the United States Navy and the military is the largest employer in the county. But more and more, you have kind of a burgeoning startup economy up here as well. You've got big companies making investments in the area like Apple.
Mhm.
You have legacy companies like HP and Sony having headquarters here. And then you've seen some amazing kind of non-traditional startups, unicorns really pop up in San Diego in the wine and spirits category with Cutwater and Ballast Point and all these really cool. I think San Diego has more microbreweries than Portland now. It's the number one microbrewery town in the entire country. And then you've got like Manscaped, a company that's direct to consumer personal care razor company.
Yes.
You've got Viore, which is probably on track to compete with Lululemon.
Definitely.
Do you want to kind of maybe comment a little bit, as you have been involved in the innovation space here in town? How have you seen things progress from kind of what it was, in historically and what it's becoming today?
I think maybe I'll agree with you that we have a progression, but we also have something that's fundamentally makes San Diego, which is that we're such a good support to the innovation ecosystem regardless of industry. And that's what makes us unique compared to Silicon Valley and Austin, whatever you want to talk about, is that San Diego pivots to what the region wants. It is here to produce the best innovation in any industry. I really think it's unique. I haven't seen anything like San Diego in that. And I might disagree with that statement, but still promote it, which is a lot of our partners across life sciences, tech, say that San Diego is really comfortable growing startups and letting them move their headquarters somewhere else. Like we are here to support.
We're good to birth them, but we don't get to keep them.
Yes, that's a really good way of saying it. And so I understand that statement. I just wish we weren't comfortable with that statement because I think it's a good balance of both. Like you want to birth them, you want to support them, and you want to retain a portion of them. You don't have to have all of them here. So I think what I've seen in our progression is that we've stepped out of our comfort zone from the two industries, life sciences and defense that you talked about, to a broader portfolio. And one of my favorite ones that we've been talking about is the VOREs, right? Is San Diego and Southern California have a lifestyle, right? And this is the coffee, this is the, the surfing economy. We are unique. And even if you're in the Boston area, you can subscribe to some aspect of what we're delivering, right? You can see how VORE can be your future. You can see how the best coffee can be your future, even though it's based on us loving us surfing, loving our flip-flops, loving our beach culture. You can see how that lifestyle part can be a San Diego startup, but reach the rest of the US and the world.
Yeah, well, San Diego lifestyle is aspirational, right?
Of course.
We have trouble keeping sports teams here because everybody's outside, everybody's in the water, everybody's out hiking and doing amazing things, outdoors. One of the other things I noticed is we, especially North County, I think we're probably the largest amount of wellness companies per capita. Like I don't have research to back it up, but tangentially, if you go to my house where I go to work out in the morning at 5 a.m. at Orange Theory, just in my little shopping center that's 6 minutes from my house, there's a Vons, there's an Orange Theory, there's a Pilates studio. There's some workout that's more geared towards older people that are, trying to stay in shape and stuff like that. Cool. I'm here for it. There used to be a wellness center that just closed, unfortunately, but it did like IV blood bags, NAD, peptides, red light therapy, cryogenics, all that type of stuff. Then next to that is a Breathe Degrees, which just went in at Liberty Station, their second location, which is much bigger, but it's basically breath work, yoga, cold plunging, and sauna. And that's in one Vons shopping center, and there's more across the street at the next shopping center. It's crazy.
Exactly. We're unique, right? We're unique, but what we deliver in San Diego is an economy that's transferable, right? Like people want our lifestyle, but also the tech that we produce is unbeatable. The life sciences we build is unbeatable. And in the space of national security, we can't argue that everything we do in cybersecurity, protecting our banks, protecting our social security numbers is not important, right?
Totally. Like, so, might not be as sexy, but it's very important.
Very important. So we have this like broader, I guess, innovation ecosystem than what I've experienced.
Yep. And then, San Diego State also has its own unicorn stories as well. Out of the entrepreneur, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but the entrepreneur program birthed companies like Pura Vida bracelets, Nixon watches, a lot of really fast
blenders,
sunglasses. So
Trust and Well, like so many great companies.
Exactly. And early e-commerce brands that were like challenger brands before that was a thing. Can you talk about what you know about, how did that program come to be? And what's the current state of it, and how are you seeing that have an impact on both students, but on the larger campus at large?
Yeah, so it's been over a decade now, but it came with a donation from a partner and an alum, and people who really believed in San Diego State and our students and their entrepreneurial spirit. And, we're on our fourth exit right now, which I know if you're comparing to other campuses might not seem like that big,
Sure.
but San Diego State, that was not what we did, right? We trained workforce undergrad students, and we've really pivoted to being an economic engine by not only supporting the students to build their companies, but also externally supporting the ecosystem. Internally, from our entrepreneurship program, our vision has been to not necessarily, one, we take zero equity in student companies.
Right.
Our goal is for students to learn, understand what it looks like. Many of the companies they build with us are not successful,
Sure.
right?
Like any VC or
yes,
any entrepreneurial program, 12% will get to the next round.
Yeah,
if they're
so
lucky.
for us it's 10%, so
Wow.
not far,
Yeah.
and student-led, right? But what's exciting about it is several of the companies that you talked about is the second companies our student did, right? It wasn't the company they did with us, it's the company they did after us.
Interesting. So
right?
San Diego, or the company that they did while they were in the entrepreneurship program, was essentially their first run, and then the next thing works out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what we've decided to do instead of take equity is our students to do a pledge to come back and support the next generation.
I love that. That's so cool.
We don't want your money, but we want you to come back and support the next generation of students. And we've been so blessed by incredible alumni, like with Blenders, who just gave $5 million to our NIL program for our athletics program. So the idea is come back and support us when you make it, but we're here to teach you how to make it. More importantly, though, from my role as Vice President for Research and Innovation, is what I look for our students is to learn it, do it, and impact the economy that allows us to hire all of our graduates, right? We want jobs. Our students don't want to live San Diego or Southern California.
And a lot of people have to sometimes, right?
Yeah,
Afterwards.
and so the more we spin off companies that allow our students to have jobs in San Diego, the better we are off.
I love that. And you talk about economic development. San Diego is actually the 5th fastest growing city in the country right now. The main feeder cities are Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Dallas. I forget what number 3, 4, and 5 are. But it seems like, especially after COVID and the reorientation of the idea of work from home or remote working, that lifestyle is appealing, and when other cities in the state are maybe having PR problems or image problems or whatever you want to call it, San Diego remains kind of that, beautiful place that everybody wants to go on vacation and live at.
Definitely.
We also are a tourism capital too, with the San Diego Zoo and Legoland and SeaWorld and all the attractions that we have. How much are you seeing kind of the post-COVID boom as far as this being a city that a lot of people are moving to have that lifestyle, and now because of flexibility and digital nomads and that type of thing? Are you seeing that as an impact as well?
Yes, but I will caveat that we are very expensive to live in.
Sure.
And so that's another one we, as a university, we're thinking about affordable housing, how to recruit the best and the brightest, the innovators, because, I talked about the student piece, right? The students who spin off companies, but a big chunk of our portfolio is our faculty innovators that spin off companies.
Yeah, good point.
And so, there's 2 tiers. And for those people, if you can come here and build a family, because your median household the cost is about $1 million, becomes a little hard, right?
Yeah.
And so we're really working with the mayor's office, the governor's office, with other partners to think about how do we make San Diego a place not only of innovation, but affordability. Our regional partners with the Economic Development Corporation. Those are all things that people don't see behind the scenes of a university. I would say they assume we're just training the workforce of tomorrow, doing some research. But a big part of being such a big part of the economy of the region is our role is not just training students, not just creating innovation, but also how do we fit into all of that ecosystem.
I love that. Can you talk a little bit about San Diego being a cosmopolitan city and on the edge? Sometimes people forget that we have this border with Mexico, and Tijuana is exploding right now.
Yes.
A lot of Americans living in Tijuana, living in Baja and commuting and coming across. I recently went down there. I met a kid at a pickleball networking event who has a medical tourism company down in Tijuana, and I brought some influencers down there to get some treatments and to do some promotions. And I hadn't been to Tijuana since I was in college myself, for spring break, because I was always like, oh, it's scary, cartels, whatever. And then I went over there and it's like, oh my gosh,
it's so much fun.
4 Michelin star restaurants
Yep.
in Tijuana. It's the disparity of like a brand new skyscraper going in next to like kind of, underdeveloped properties and things like that. There's a lot of like juxtaposition between the progress and kind of, the poor, but definitely a lot of exciting things happening there. And for international business people who can't necessarily get a visa to live or be permanently located here in the U.S., it's a great place for them to live and then be able to come across and do business.
Totally.
How much do you see kind of the relationship with Mexico and us being a border town? How does that impact you guys from a student's perspective, but also like on the innovation side and some of those things?
All of it. And I'll start with what Tijuana's positioned itself really well, besides a great food hub. My husband and I park, walk over, grab dinner, come home. We absolutely love it.
I've been flying out of Tijuana for all my South America trips recently too.
We do that all the time. Yes,
so
it's so amazing. But beyond that is in the innovation ecosystem is thinking about San Diego's expensive. We don't have a lot of land, but we want companies who can not only do innovation, but produce. So what has been the best part of being in this cross-border community?
Having a manufacturer base, totally makes sense.
It is amazing. So the attraction to companies that say, come work with San Diego State or UCSD or USD, we have also the best and the brightest between all of our universities, all of our innovation ecosystem partners, Biocom. You think about what we have, the Navy, it's like such a unique ecosystem. You say, come here, but wait. You can also manufacture next door, and it's a day trip. You don't have to fly to Phoenix. You don't have to fly to Austin. You don't have to fly
worry about
to
China, tariffs. We have a good relationship and trade with Mexico.
It's so to me, we've been super lucky. For us also as a university, being a minority serving institution, Hispanic serving institution, having a presence in Oaxaca, our partnership with Mexico is beyond just the innovation ecosystem. It's the number of students that cross each day. It's the number of staff who cross each day and obviously our presence in Imperial Valley. We're the only 4-year university in Imperial Valley, serving our T1, our Mexicali
crossover students as well. That's very cool. All right, so I'll get into some of my questions now.
Yes.
We spent a lot of time, just riffing, but how can universities better translate academic research into real world outcomes for innovation? Can there be better, easier paths for ideas that are created inside of university settings to get translated to real world business applications?
100%. And a lot of universities, I would say, have in the last 5 or so years been better at it, which is, we wanted to train your faculty to understand that their research is not in a silo, right?
It's not just for papers.
It's not for papers, right? So if you can explain that, which we have things like an NSF I-Core program that really is explaining to faculty the benefit and the way to translate their research to commercialization. But also understanding that not every one of our faculty is going to be the CEO of the company they spin off. So how do you build a network of CEOs for your universities when your faculty says, love what you're saying to me, but I don't want to be a CEO. I want to go back into my lab.
I want to transfer,
so I'm happy.
Maybe keep the patent,
Yes.
But
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
happy to have you take my patent, give me the returns, but I don't want to be involved. How do you do this? So, as a university, you have to have multiple pathways for your faculty. Um, and also, I think one of the things that universities more broadly have not thought about is we think about the tech, the basic science. SDSU's number one revenue generator is, well, the two highest, because they're very similar, are programs that came out of our our College of Health and Human Services and our student health services.
Wow.
One was a program that we sell to university called our Spark program, that is how to train on physical activity across schools. Every school in the country basically almost uses that program now. So really, like, at least we have, I don't even know the number of schools we have, but the idea is, like, don't think necessarily just about transformation from tech, transformation from life sciences. Every college you have, every program you have has a commercialization pathway. The second one, which is our e-checkup program, is a way to help universities with alcohol consumption for their students that
Interesting.
now the universities use. The military use.
No way.
So we went from universities to military
So you
program.
found other applications
it's
for something that was originally
exactly.
designed for students.
Exactly. So it's just being very creative and being open and having these conversations that have huge impact on people's lives, right? Like, I love those two examples because they're not your typical app or your whatever. It is real people's life. It's real students getting more physical activity. Which means their healthcare is better, their cardiovascular outcomes are better, right? So it's a very different model than people have employed. But we've been trying to think, and we've been talking about it internally, is like, how do you break every barrier to commercialization, to innovation for our faculty and students?
Very cool. All right, let's get into TechCon. So when did you guys first become involved? What excited you about TechCon as a concept, and why did you decide to become the host for it?
So we became the host last year.
Yeah.
That was we attended 2 years ago their conference here in San Diego, and then we were trying to be the host that year, but it was late in the process and unable to make it happen. But we attended and then decided that was the right fit for the university. What's exciting about it, from my perspective, is that it's that platform for thinking about where we're headed. So you're bringing your VCs, you're bringing your students, you're bringing your innovators, you're bringing your big companies, you're putting everybody in a room and saying, this is what we're seeing, and how can we leverage what we're seeing in this tech space for the future of everyone. And how exciting is that, right?
Yeah.
So we have VCs that come in from New York and the Bay Area. So it's not San Diego centric per se. And for a university like San Diego State, I think that's a really good platform to be engaged in, because as we build our Mission Valley campus and innovation district, what we're looking at is people seeing that SDSU is leading the charge, not only for San Diego, but for California, to be a hub for innovation, a place where companies, VCs, can come and see the greatest and the brightest in any of these ecosystems. And we put it on the platter for them, and you pick.
It's pretty
Right?
nice,
You pick,
right?
And so TechCon's been really exciting. It also offered us opportunities for collaboration with high schools. They did last year this really, really cool program where it was with a local group called UFund, which is a angel investor group, where they trained high schoolers to build their companies and pitch at the conference.
Yeah, I saw them up in the media room last year. It was awesome.
How cute is that?
So
and how amazing for these like 14, 15, 16, and one of them is like really pushing his company, right? Like, so how better is SDSU can position itself as a driver of that economic development?
Yeah, I love
through
that. I kind of went down my path because of a project that I did in high school. So I feel like the earlier that you can kind of expose students to the idea of being an entrepreneur and kind of how it all works. Like even high school is important. College is where you develop a lot of these ideas, but it's important to even get to high school students for sure. So one of the things that I really love about Faisal's vision and why I'm happy to be a media partner is that he really talks a lot about equality and kind of democratization of venture and innovation and entrepreneurship, making it more accessible, making it not just something that's for the Silicon Valley elite, the people up in the Bay Area. And look, they've done amazing things and they've brought the world's greatest and brightest companies to us. But for a long time, it was kind of a good old boys club just in San Francisco. And that's where, all the money was deployed, all the companies got funded. And if you weren't in the Valley, you pretty much, didn't exist for a long time. And another kind of restructuring of COVID, I think, again, as people left the Bay and kind of redistributed. And now you have these additional innovation hubs that are in places like Austin and places like New York and places like San Diego. So it sounds like that's very on brand for you guys with the partnership with TechCon as well.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego State, I did this slide yesterday at a meeting and people were like, I love this. And my description, it's a reverse pyramid. So and it has 6 levels. And I said, look, what San Diego State is unique at, it's a very high research institution. So we just joined the 187 research institutions that are the top of the country, R1, what we call R1 institution, the best of the best.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
So we're in R1, that's 187 in the entire country. You break it down to Hispanic serving institution, there's only 30 that are both R1 and HSI. You narrow it down to Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Native American, now you're down to 16 institutions that do that. You go to institutions that serve their community, what we call community engaged campuses. You're down now to a subset of that. And then you go down to one other level, which is opportunity colleges. And opportunity colleges is ones that your students come in and leave doing better, a socioeconomic mobility campus. There are only 3 that hit those 5. And because I'm a sport fan, I had to add the last thing, we're a D1 campus. You can't leave our athletics out. So like in 6 categories, we're the only campus in the country with those criteria, right?
It's wild.
It is wild. And we're in your backyard and we're here to support our students and we're to support our economy. And with Faisal, what's really exciting for me and his vision is that we are 54% students of color, right? Like when you start to talk about who are we serving, he's talking about the same population. It's not about just minority inventors and startup and entrepreneurs.
But at least that's part of the conversation.
It's part of the conversation, but it also brings them all together. So when we do our teams for these companies, they're so diverse in training, in backgrounds, in socioeconomic status that when they come together, they can break down all the problems as teams because they really represent not only our economy, but the U.S. broadly.
I love it. I think, you talked about D1 status and you talked about NIL. Do you think you guys are doing interesting things in taking the fact that you have, the NIL program, D1 athletes? How are you partnering the marketing engine of San Diego State with some of these companies that you guys are birthing and innovating? Are you guys connecting the dots there?
Yeah, definitely. So Trusted Will is a great example. Trusted Will, Cody Barbo, who is an alum of SDSU, they came back and did Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon. So there's always an interface between our companies and our portfolio. But more importantly, I think, Snapdragon and the partnership with Qualcomm brought something super unique, which was our ability to track a new men's MLS team. What we're doing is transforming San Diego. That's the way I would describe it. We're transforming San Diego not only through our education, our research, but also through our athletics.
I love that. San Diego is also the home of some pretty amazing marketing agencies that come out of San Diego State. Scott Allison from Allison and Partners recently retired, but he's creating brand films in the
Yep.
fandom space. Michael Alguin, who sold his PR firm to Havas, which is one of the big 5 holding companies. Are you guys connecting the dots with kind of the marketing community? There's also a really strong ANA chapter here in town that does a lot of great work and brings kind of marketing partners and agencies together that are some alums, some not, but all San Diego. Are you guys figuring out how to partner the marketing advertising community with the innovation community? Is that on the roadmap?
I think we do more with the film industry than the marketing industry. So a lot of our, we have one of the best, in my opinion, theater and television and film programs in the country.
Wow.
And many of these people are still in Hollywood, from Kathleen Kennedy to others who are leading with Marvel and other programs. And so for me, I think about the way SDSU really works is we hope our alumni come back to us because they had a good experience. Yeah. It's hard to reach. We have 500,000 living alumni. Wow. So it's hard to think about how to reach all of them, right?
Yeah,
we hope some of them had a great experience come back to us, but we also have a subset who have had deeper engagement with the campus during their time, and we know them. So those are the people we reach out to, I would say, directly. And then others where we hope they're making the reach out because they had a good experience with us. So it's a mix of bi-directional, I would say. But yeah, there's not an industry that you can talk about where we can't name somebody who's done something amazing that's an SDSU alum.
I love that. All right, so if we could pitch the VCs or the innovators or the folks that might want to get involved in TechCon at San Diego State this year, what would you like to tell the audience, and where should they learn more about your program? But maybe let's give a pitch for TechCon and tell people why they should register and attend this year.
I will say for me with TechCon was super exciting, and the reason I wanted it at SDSU the first year I attended it is this ability to walk in and, as not a member of the tech, I'm a public health person by background,
sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Walking into these meetings, the welcoming, the explaining, the engagement, the wanting to do better, the wanting to advance San Diego and Southern California. And with TechCon, they do obviously the work in other cities. But like for our TechCon here, it's like everybody wants to work together. That's really unique. Nobody's standoffish. Nobody's hard to reach. That, I think, is a really unique environment. And it's the right mix. What I give Faisal credit for is it's the right mix of people, right? It's a mix of innovators, academics, VCs, the thing that you've never thought about that you'll hear about for the first time at that event. That's what makes it. The students, the young kids, all of them are all in one page. So for me, unique setting. I don't think I've seen anything like it that's more exciting. And I will say, it's on the website. Obviously, we can put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes, links for people to sign up. For sure.
To sign up. And in terms of connecting, not only will I be there and I'm part of the program, but we happy to put my email in the notes. Reach out. We can tell you what we're doing, where we're building in Mission Valley, next to the stadium, next to housing, next to a hotel, next to retail, next to a park, is also a unique thing that we would love to have people come and be part of.
Very exciting. Well, as you continue to build it out, definitely let's have you back on, and maybe we can do a show from down there and do a little little tour, show people visually what everything looks like. All right, for those of you who are watching from home, if this is the first time you're seeing the show, don't forget to give us a subscribe or a follow. If you're listening to the show, whatever podcast platform you happen to be listening on, give us an honest review. That's how the show finds a larger audience organically. And last but not least, if there's somebody in academia or somebody in the innovation economy, maybe a VC or an entrepreneur who you think would like to hear about this show and get involved in TechCon SoCal at San Diego State University, maybe share the episode with them so they can come out and check it out and see what it's all about. And with that, Hala, I will thank you, wish you a happy Friday and a great weekend. Thanks for coming on the show.